What is the nature of consciousness? This is one of the most fascinating questions in philosophy, neuroscience, and even religion. Consciousness is the awareness of one's own existence, thoughts, and surroundings. But what exactly is it? Is it a purely physical process, or does it have a non-physical, metaphysical aspect to it? And how does consciousness relate to the brain and the rest of the body, and can it exist independently of them? Let's explore these questions and try to shed some light on this enigmatic phenomenon. First, let's examine the physicalist view of consciousness, which posits that consciousness is entirely reducible to the physical processes of the brain. According to this view, consciousness arises from the complex interactions of neurons and other brain cells, and can be fully explained by neuroscientific principles. This view is supported by the fact that damage to certain areas of the brain can result in corresponding deficits in consciousness, such as the loss of vision or the inability to recognize faces. However, there are several challenges to the physicalist view of consciousness. One of the most prominent is the hard problem of consciousness, which refers to the question of how and why subjective experience arises from physical processes. Even if we can fully explain the physical processes underlying consciousness, we are still left with the mystery of why it feels like something to be conscious, rather than simply being a collection of information processing modules. This leads us to consider the possibility of a non-physical, metaphysical aspect to consciousness. This view, often associated with dualism, suggests that consciousness is not reducible to the physical processes of the brain, but instead exists independently of the body. Some proponents of this view argue that consciousness is a fundamental aspect of the universe, like space and time, and that it cannot be fully explained by any physical theory. While the idea of a non-physical aspect to consciousness may seem far-fetched, there are some intriguing phenomena that suggest that there may be more to consciousness than just physical processes. For example, near-death experiences, where people report vivid and often transformative experiences while their brains are inactive, are difficult to explain solely in terms of physical processes. So, how does consciousness relate to the brain and the rest of the body? The most widely accepted view is that consciousness is an emergent property of the brain, meaning that it arises from the complex interactions of neurons and other brain cells. However, the exact mechanisms underlying this emergence are still not well understood. Finally, can consciousness exist independently of the brain and the rest of the body? While this is a controversial topic, there are some intriguing cases of apparent postmortem consciousness, such as the documented experiences of some organ transplant recipients who report memories and sensations that belong to their donors. While these cases are still not well understood, they suggest that consciousness may have a more complex relationship with the body than we currently understand. In conclusion, the nature of consciousness is one of the most fascinating and enigmatic questions in science and philosophy. While the physicalist view suggests that consciousness is entirely reducible to the physical processes of the brain, the hard problem of consciousness and other phenomena suggest that there may be more to consciousness than just physical processes. Regardless of the ultimate answer to this question, studying consciousness will undoubtedly continue to captivate and inspire researchers and thinkers for years to come.